So whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, this is irrespective of personalities. This is just about the data. He does well with hardcore Republican voters. He's likely to win the primary. He does terrible with independent and moderate voters. And last night showed that. It is not a secret. But Trump needs those very same voters, those Nikki Haley-like voters, to win the presidency. That doesn't seem to matter to the Republican primary electorate. With us now, George Will, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for The Washington Post, NewsNation senior political contributor, with a column out today. Haley's gallant game-on message Tuesday night might ultimately be unavailing. She is, however, standing alone against Trump, possibly becoming the most valuable president progressivism has ever had. Is that an endorsement?
Of whom?
Nikki Haley.
Yes. How's that for an answer?
All right, there you go. With the South Carolina tie on tonight.
Exactly. Donald Trump is desperate to not have a race. After Iowa, a trivial slice of the American people, a trivial slice of Iowans for that matter, he said, game's over, time to go home. That was the top of the first inning. The bottom of the first inning in New Hampshire said, game's over, don't have to, get barely half the vote. He was running as an incumbent, basically, and he barely got over half the vote up there.
All right, fair enough, but if you keep getting barely over half the vote through South Carolina, where he's way up in the polls, and then on Super Tuesday, you're still in first place. If
you use the magic word. Part of his charisma is his wealth. We now know that he exaggerated it. The other part of his charisma is the sense of inevitability, the fact that he's not a loser, that he doesn't lose well. Wait till he loses one, and then let's see what happens. And then let's see what happens when you get to more and more states where independents can vote. Mr. Trump disparages Nikki Haley's achievement because he said, well, she depended on independent voters. Everyone knows that this election in November is going to be settled by independent voters, most important of which are college-educated women in the suburbs.
All right. Trump's New Hampshire voter struggles. Republican voters with college degrees, 37%, independent voters, 38%. Let me flip this around to you. If Nikki Haley cannot win in New Hampshire, where she had the most popular governor in America stumping for her hour after hour, where she had fawning media coverage, where she had spent 11 months with her message, and where the electorate is tailor-made for her kind of message, where between now and Super Tuesday, and including Super Tuesday, is she going to win?
First of all, perhaps in her home state. It is...
Where she's down 30 points.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Little baseball here. The Dodgers were ahead of the Giants by 14 games in early August in 1951. It ended with Bobby Thompson hitting a home run and the Giants going to the World Series. Things are fluid in baseball. Things are fluid in life. Fluid in politics. This is a long way from over, which is why Donald Trump is manifestly nervous. Furthermore, she gets under his skin.
That is true, and I think that was planned last night. I mean, if you listen to her speech,
planned, yes.
Yeah, it was definitely planned. We're going to play back-to-back the clip to prove your point.
Trump claims he'd do better than me in one of those tests. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But if he thinks that, then he should have no problem standing on a debate stage with me.
And just a little note to Nikki. She's not going to win. She's not going to win. But if she did, she would be under investigation by those people in 15 minutes.
So this is the same Donald Trump from 2015, 2016, the same lines. This is what you wrote in April of 2016 about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's damage to the Republican Party, although already extensive, has barely begun. Republican quislings will multiply, slinking into support of the most anti-conservative president aspirant in their party's history. I understand your feelings about Donald Trump. There's a lot of Republicans who feel that way. There's a lot of Republicans who like him. Are you and certain people who are wishing for a different type of candidate underestimating once again his power and his appeal among working-class Republican primary voters?
I don't think so. Under the Republican primary electorate, if a Republican primary electorate picked presidents, he'd win. It doesn't. The Electoral College does. You need 270 of those votes. And to get them, you need to have the kind of coalition that can be put together by someone like Nikki Haley.
All right. Why then does the electability argument seem to ring so hollow when I interview time and time again those Republican primary voters in Rochester, New Hampshire, and places farther north?
Because a certain significant portion of the Republican nominating electorate wants to beat Biden, but really wants to express itself, its tribal solidarity with their vote. They're not focused on winning. When they focus on winning, when the question becomes who is most apt to enable the Republicans to replace Joe Biden, I think you'll see a shift.
Prediction has been made. The endorsement has been made. We'll talk to you soon, sir.
Sure.
Thank you as always. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.